Hey guys, today I wanted to talk a little bit about alcohol and the paleo diet. There is a real split opinion about whether or not you can or should drink alcohol while you're on the paleo diet, whether it's good for you and if it's going to cause you more harm than it's worth. I personally still consume alcohol and the entire top shelf of my pantry is full of booze, and I find that it affects me more than what it did before I was on the paleo diet. So before I was on the paleo diet, I would probably like a glass and a half's worth. That effect is now happening in 1 glass worth of alcohol, if that makes sense. So I have basically become lightweight, which is fine because it saves me money, but I suppose it's because your body's not really used to dealing with toxins and dealing with like crappy stuff in your system, and so it just kind of goes straight to your head. I'm not exactly sure what the science is behind it, but I've seen on message boards around that I'm definitely not the only one that this has happened to. So definitely once you're getting into the paleo diet a bit more seriously, it's not a good idea to drink a whole lot of alcohol or what you would have considered to be a lot of alcohol before you start the paleo diet, because it will be too much for you. In terms of the types of alcohol that are recommended or not recommended on the paleo diet, the opinion really is quite split. Obviously, some people say that you shouldn't be drinking at all, and other people say that it's fine to have a glass of wine every now and then other people, like myself, tend to be even more lax than that. I find that I don't do a lot of cheat meals, so I think that with drinking, it's kind of my cheat meal. That said, I probably don't drink more than once a week, and I definitely don't drink a whole lot because I'm such a lightweight. So I'm probably having less alcohol than the average Australian. I'm definitely having less alcohol than the average Australian, but I still really enjoy it, and it's a great social thing as well, especially in this country. So let's get into it. What I've done today is gotten out everything from my pantry top shelf, which is all of my alcohol, and I've lined it up in front of me, and I'm just going to pick things up and talk about them and what I think is a good idea to drink and what is a bad idea to drink. I definitely think it, and I will start with this because I don't have it in front of me, I definitely think that beer and any kind of mixed drinks with sodas or drinks with a lot of sugar in them are completely off the menu. Those vodka cruiser type mixed drinks where there's a lot of sugar in them are really bad for you, and the sugar is going to do you over worse than the alcohol is once you're kind of getting into the paleo diet and you're not consuming a lot of sugar at all. Similarly, with beer and stuff like that that's fermented from a grain, it's definitely not a good idea to consume it. Beer is made, I think, from barley and hops, and barley is not on the paleo diet, and therefore neither is beer. However, if you are a really big beer drinker and you want something that's kind of a similar alternative, I would recommend cider. There are some types of cider that are really, really sugary, like Strongbow, that I wouldn't recommend at all, but cider that's just made from fresh apples and not condensed down to become sweeter, just like the traditional kind of recipe. It almost tastes a little bit like wine, but apple wine, if that makes sense, and it's fantastic. And I've found that when I drink it, I don't get that kind of sugar high or hangover afterwards. I wouldn't say I don't get any hangovers at all, but it's not from the sugar and the other ingredients in the alcohol. Obviously, the most paleo drink, well, the two most paleo drinks are the ones that are made from berries or obviously from grapes. Now, the alcohol that is made from berries is generally referred to as gin. Gin is traditionally not considered very good for you because it's a drink that the lower classes tended to consume because they had access to it. Gin is made from berries that are fermented and then distilled. So fermented means that they've been put with water or some kind of, or even just crushed up in their own juices and left there for the yeasts to kind of work on them and create sort of what you would consider a really dirty, gross cider. And then that cider is distilled and turned and purified into something like this. I have 2 types of gin going at the moment, Trader's Dry Gin and Bombay Sapphire. Bombay Sapphire is kind of the traditional fancy pants gin that a lot of wankers tend to drink, and Trader's Dry Gin is a slightly cheaper version of it. But I do drink gin, and I find that if you're going fairly easy on it, obviously, because it's quite strong, same as vodka or any other spirit, it is fine to consume, really. And it is only made from berries, so it is quite paleo. There are other spirits that I keep in the house, and I'll quickly go through them. One of them is schnapps. Now, I'm not exactly sure with schnapps what the deal is. Sometimes schnapps is really, really sugary and really, really sweet. And sometimes, like this one, which is actually from Europe, where they make the schnapps, is not. This is basically a really strong spirit, and the lid of this bottle is actually a little shot glass. But yeah, it smells terrible. And it does smell like peaches. This is peach flavour. But I'm not exactly sure what the deal is with schnapps. I think schnapps like this, which looks like it's just made from peaches and then distilled down the same way that gin is pretty good. But a lot of the schnapps that you get, especially in Australia, are really sugary, really sweet, kind of like liqueurs almost, and they don't seem to be... I wouldn't recommend those, definitely not. I also have some vodka. This is Chingus Vodka, which comes from Mongolia. It's not available outside of Mongolia, but I got it as a souvenir from a friend that was visiting. And it is amazing. It is organic vodka. The people that make this don't really have access to conventional farming, or if they do, it's quite minimal. And so basically, if you're going to drink vodka, this is probably something like this would be better. But again, if you're going to drink vodka, if you're going to drink a disgusting flavoured spirit, just go with the gin, for God's sakes, because it is just made from berries, whereas this is made from potatoes. And as we know, potatoes are not part of the paleo diet. However, I wonder how many of the toxins from potatoes are still inside the drink once it has been distilled, and this has been double distilled to this level of purity in alcohol. That said, it's only 39% alcohol per volume, so what's in the other 2/3 of the drink? Is it just water? Probably, but who knows. Obviously, my next big thing is wine. I love wine, and I was one of those kids that hated them in childhood and forced myself to drink it until I liked it, and now I like it, so that's pretty great. I have a couple of glasses of wine, a couple of bottles rather of wine here, and I'm not even sure. I have a Shiraz. In the US they call it Syrah, and a Cabernet Shiraz Merlot blend of wine. I do like the blended wines, and I think that having a variety of grapes in your wine is probably going to give you a variety of antioxidants as well. Red wine is really, really high in antioxidants. It's really good for you, and I think that a glass every evening is definitely not going to break your paleo diet or cause you any undue harm. However, a lot of wines, and including this one I think, contain a preservative, and they either refer to it as sulfides or as preservative 220, 221, and essentially it is and this one says in the back of it, contains sulfites. And this one probably does as well. Let's have a look. Yep, contains sulfites. So they both contain this preservative, and it's referred to as sulfites or 220 or 221. And essentially what it is it's a preservative, and if you find with drinking wine that you get hiccups, that you get bloated, that you get gassy, that you get migraines after you've been drinking red wine, it's not the red wine that's doing it, it's this preservative, the sulfites, the 220. This sulfite preservative is also in bottles of port and any kind of mix of wine as well. Always look out for it. If you can find chemical-free wine, it doesn't even have to be organic wine, if you can just find it chemical-free, that means that it doesn't have the preservative in it, and it won't give you that headache, and you won't get the burping, and you won't get the hiccups, and you won't get the farting, and you won't get any of that business happening. I definitely get migraines from preservative 220 if I drink too much of it. And it's not fun the next day to have a migraine because you've been drinking wine the night before. So if you can find chemical-free wine, definitely go for that one, because preservative 220, in my opinion, is definitely not a paleo ingredient. I also have some leftover white wine, and I think it contains, let's have a look, contains sulfites. It also contains sulfites. So even with white wine, it's in them as well. Basically, it frustrates me, especially with port, because with port, it's an alcohol that has been designed to keep for a very long time so that sailors could take it out on their long voyages and drink before they got back to port, and which is not where the name came from actually, it's a Portuguese drink. But anyway, what I find frustrating is that traditionally you were able to take it a long way, and traditionally, like 100, 200 years ago, you could age this stuff for 100 years and it wouldn't go off, there wouldn't be a problem, it wouldn't go rancid. And it just shows that we're so obsessed now with keeping things as fresh and beautiful as possible that we put preservatives in all of our wines. And that frustrates me a lot because they're completely not necessary. And there you go, rant over. In terms of mixes, I tend to mix soda water with my drinks. I obviously don't do a lot of mixed drinking. I prefer to do the wine thing, but obviously tonic water is fine as well. It's just basically soda water with quinine, and so your gin and tonic is still on the menu, and you can pretend to be an old English lady drinking your gin and tonic while on safari in Africa or something. That's just what pops into my head when I think of gin and tonic. But soda water as well, obviously juice, if you're not using too much of it and you're not too worried about the sugar consumption of having fruit juice, is fine to mix with alcohols as well as regular water. Coffee as well, if it's just black coffee, then you can mix that with anything you want. There's a lot of experimenting to be done. Basically just try and avoid really sugary things, because that's what the trap is with alcohol. It's not the fact that you're drinking a substance that's going to get you drunk and give you a headache. It's the fact that you're consuming, in the case of beer, a load of carbohydrates, or in the case of mixed drinks, a lot of sugar. And those are the things you've really got to look out for. So try and stick to low sugar options. And if you're not sure, just read the labels of everything that you look at. You might feel a bit stupid comparing two drinks in the bottle shop, but really at the end of the day, this is your health that you're concerned about and that you want to maintain. So I really think that it's worth doing, and it's worth being diligent about this sort of thing. So that's basically it in terms of alcohol. I hope this was helpful. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I will try and answer them. See you later. Bye.